If You Can't Take the Heat is a collection of humorous and often poignant essays exploring the intersections of food, feminism, and family. DeRuiter, a James Beard Award-winning food writer and blogger, utilizes her personal experiences and observations to critique the culinary world's sexism and examine the complexities of motherhood, marriage, and cultural identity.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into the world of Geraldine DeRuiter.
DeRuiter.
You might know her from that takedown of that Michelin-starred disaster.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, if you haven't read it, treat yourself later. But DeRuiter's work goes way beyond restaurant reviews.
Oh, absolutely.
We're exploring excerpts from her book, If You Can't Take the Heat, Tales of Food, Feminism, and Fury.
I love that book.
Are you ready to unpack some seriously sharp wit and some unflinching honesty?
Absolutely. DeRuiter is a James Beard Award-winning writer, and her blog, The Everywhereist, is a must-read for anyone who likes their food writing with a side of social commentary.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this incredible ability to weave humor and really insightful observations, especially about feminism and, of course, the culinary world.
Right, and she does not hold back. Take her response to Mara Batali's cinnamon roll apology,
Oh, right.
which we have in the sources here.
Yeah.
It wasn't just funny, it was a laser-sharp critique of a culture that often dismisses women's experiences.
Mm-hmm. What's fascinating there is how DeRuiter takes what appears to be a simple apology, a recipe no less,
Right.
and dissects the layers of power and gender dynamics at play.
Wow, yeah.
Batali's attempt to apologize with something seemingly targeted towards women came across as very tone-deaf, and DeRuiter brilliantly called out that ingrained sexism.
Okay, let's talk about DeRuiter's writing style for a second.
Okay.
It's incredibly engaging, but can be, shall we say, a bit in your face, especially for anyone expecting a traditional food memoir.
Yeah.
Her first food memory alone kind of sets the tone.
It's true. You don't often see a celebrated food writer leading with a toothpaste anecdote.
Toothpaste.
Yeah.
It's so unexpected and honestly hilarious. But it also reveals a lot about her personality.
Right.
I mean, while most food memoirs begin with those warm, fuzzy memories of home cooking,
Right.
DeRuiter goes in a completely different direction.
Exactly. And this unconventional choice speaks volumes. It suggests she's not afraid to be different, to find humor in the unexpected, and to challenge those conventional foodie narratives right from the start.
Interesting.
This sets the stage for her to later dismantle other societal expectations, particularly around women and food.
And it makes you wonder, does this unconventional first food memory also hint at her challenging the norms of being a woman later on?
It's definitely food for thought, and this theme of challenging expectations comes through in how she writes about her family, particularly her Italian mother.
Oh, her mother. Described as a tiny, loud, leopard print-clad carnival, accidentally setting the house on fire, offering a hair-infested pie.
Oh my gosh.
It's wild. But DeRuiter tells these stories with such vivid detail and humor you can't help but laugh along.
It would be easy to just focus on the humor, but DeRuiter doesn't shy away from the complexities of these relationships.
Right.
Take her descriptions of her father, for example, who she describes as a spy, the human equivalent of a tasseled loafer.
Trying to understand him through his beef stroganoff recipe, that's fascinating to me.
It's a great example of how DeRuiter uses food as a lens to examine her family and her own identity. She's not just sharing recipes, she's exploring the connections between food memory and personal history.
It reminds you that food is so much more than just sustenance. It's about family culture and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are.
It really is. And those connections become even more interesting when DeRuiter turns her attention to broader social issues, especially around gender and feminism.
And she does not shy away from those conversations.
Yeah.
One thing that she criticizes is this pressure on women to soften their voices to make themselves smaller, less threatening, especially in spaces like the culinary world.
Which is fascinating, right? Because her writing does the exact opposite. It's bold, unapologetic, and definitely not trying to make anyone comfortable.
Totally. It's like she's reclaiming her space, saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it.
And this ties back to food, too. Like, she talks about how women are often expected to be the domestic goddesses, effortlessly whipping up gourmet meals while also being effortlessly charming.
And she calls out the absurdity of it all, often with a healthy dose of humor. Remember that part in the book where she talks about the societal expectation that only mothers eat cake at 9:30 p.m.? So good. We've all been there, right? Sneaking a late-night snack no matter our parental status.
Exactly. She takes these deeply ingrained societal norms and exposes them for what they are, completely arbitrary and often ridiculous. By doing so, she's reclaiming the narrative for women who choose a different path, who maybe aren't interested in conforming to those traditional expectations.
It's empowering. honestly.
Yeah.
But it's not all social commentary and sharp wit.
Hmm.
DeRuiter also has these moments of real tenderness and vulnerability, which I think makes her work even more relatable.
Absolutely. Like when she talks about finding these poignant personal stories hidden in the comment sections of online recipes, it's unexpected, but also incredibly humanizing.
It reminds us that everyone has a story, a connection to food that goes beyond just the ingredients on the plate.
Precisely. And for DeRuiter, food becomes this entry point into exploring those stories, those shared human experiences. She finds the universal in the specific, whether it's a disastrous Michelin-starred meal or a simple bowl of pasta that reminds her of her family.
So we've talked a lot about DeRuiter's personality, her writing style, her sharp critiques. But what makes her work truly stand out? Why do you think it resonates so deeply with readers, even with its occasional flaws?
I think it comes down to her authenticity. DeRuiter is unapologetically herself, and that's incredibly refreshing in a world that often demands we fit into neat little boxes.
She's not trying to be the perfect food writer, the perfect woman, or please everyone. She owns her experiences, her opinions, even her love for Red Lobster. And that's what makes her so relatable, right? She's not afraid to say, hey, I love Red Lobster, even if it's not like the trendiest foodie spot.
Exactly. It's that lack of pretense, that willingness to embrace her own quirks that makes her so endearing. She reminds us that it's okay to like what you like, even if it goes against the grain.
And to speak up about those things you're passionate about, even if your voice shakes a little.
Absolutely. DeRuiter's story is a powerful reminder that our voices matter, that our experiences have value, and that we shouldn't be afraid to share them with the world. Toothpaste anecdotes and all.
Huh? Yes. Though maybe skip the toothpaste. But seriously, if you can't take the heat, it's such a great reminder that food writing can be so much more than just recipes and restaurant reviews. DeRuiter shows us how food can be this incredible tool for exploring identity, family dynamics, and even these bigger social issues.
It's a great point to end on. DeRuiter's work challenges us to think differently about not just what we eat, but why we eat it and what those choices say about ourselves and the world around us.
It's about digging deeper into the flavors and the stories and finding meaning in every bite. So the next time you find yourself reaching for a late-night snack cake or otherwise, take a moment to consider.
Right.
What does your food story say about you? Thanks for diving in with us.